Hello everyone, Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo here. I'm about ready to set off on my trek to Cloud Imperium Games. Santa Monica is a little bit away from here, and logistical errors already have set me back at least an hour. I was supposed to get picked up from my car earlier, right around 8:45. Didn't get picked up until 9:30, so I'm a whole 45 minutes behind, and then I get to the hotel, and it takes me like 20 minutes to check in, so I'm almost a full hour behind. So I'm going to get on the road, and I'm going to make my way to Santa Monica, which means driving from where I am right now. I think I'm in Costa Mesa, which is close to Orange County Airport. John Wayne, I think it is, or maybe it's called SNA, Santa Ana. So I'm going to make my way up the 405, which can be either hellacious or wide open. On the way here, it was kind of congested, going in this direction, which was south. Now I got to turn around and go north. Let's see how long it takes me to get there. Well, that's what I got for you. I'll talk to you in just a little bit.
Well, that should be the intro for this trip to Santa Monica. It's funny how when you set up a trip to go to a game developer like Cloud Imperium Games, you expect that you can be greeted at the door, and all of a sudden this veil, this curtain is going to be lifted up, and you're going to be able to walk in and see all the different places that the game is progressing. Well, that's not exactly what happened here. I did get to see a couple of things, a work in progress that's not even going to be ready for quite some time, and it's probably going to change a multitude of times between now and when we do see it. And I saw some other things like work being done to the P-52 Merlin, but that was it. What I did get to see was the interaction that they had, each one of the people that worked there, all the individuals working like one, just working like one big collective. The last time I went to CIG, there were very few people there, and I went during lunch, and I stayed for about 3.5 hours. I got a long time to talk to Chris, about 30 to 40 minutes. I was able to talk to Forrest and some other people there, and had a really good time doing it, and left with a lot of information, but there wasn't a lot going on. This time, it was a totally different story. There was a whole bunch of different projects going on at once. I was amazed to see how well all the irons were being worked. All the irons that were in the fire were being worked. Just being around the community team all day long has given me a little bit more respect for how much they do and how much stress they're under throughout the day. I will talk a little bit more about this, but let me give you some insight, okay? And that insight is going to be this. Their job isn't just managing the forums, fixing our issues, answering tickets, or putting together a round the verse. It's actually putting a face on our game. And that is a tough job. Let's move to another one of my commentaries, and I'll be back.
So exactly what I expected is happening. The 405 is turning into a giant parking lot. So I am going to be even later than I thought I was going to be. Currently it says I'm going to be there around 11:33, and I still want to stop to get some things for Chelsea and Alexis. I figure a basket or some kind of gift bag with some fruit gushers, fruit roll-ups, and other candies, a bottle of Excedrin Migraine, and of course a bottle of White Zinfandel. Just so they can get through the day of all of our wonderful tickets. With that said, I'm going to pay attention to this road because I'm not used to these mushy brakes on this brand new Ford Focus I'm driving. But folks, thanks for riding with me, and hopefully we get the next 32.8 miles done in less than an hour. Talk to y'all later. Bye.
I walked into a room, the new community area of the office, and Ben and Chelsea and Alexis, Will and James were all having a community meeting with the two new community folks over in Austin. So I sat down for a few minutes as they finished out their meeting, and out came a couple of Nerf guns, and they started shooting each other across the room with them. They were having fun, but that was the last bit of downtime they had. As soon as the meeting was over, Chelsea and Alexis took up their stations in front of their computers and started answering tickets, and we will talk about that on Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous. Will and James started running, well, not running around the office. They were determined but never frantic or out of sorts. They started trying to put together different things. They had a lot of irons in the fire, like I said. A design post for Shields was coming out, the monthly report. Chris was due back, and they had to shoot a 10 for the chairman. And there were just so many other things going on. And they had to do their jobs too. And their jobs were actually much more than what you would expect. Will's not the lead moderator. He's the assistant community manager, and James is the community manager. Ben's new title, which I think is an old title, will be announced soon, and I think we've already heard it. It's kind of long, and I'll just let it come on around the verse or wherever they're going to put it up there. But each one of these people had a lot to do, and I was mainly there to see Ben, as I've made friends with him over the last 18 months, and also to spend some time with Sandy. But what happened was I wound up becoming a fly on the wall in the community team's area. I was able to see how they work throughout the day. The stresses, the situations, and the interaction between all of them. I also went around the office and got to talk to a great many people. And of course, before I left, Chris came down in a less than stressed mood, and he had just come back from DICE and had a lot more work to do, and gave me about 10 minutes to talk to me, which was very nice. But I really want to center the rest of my conversation on the community team to give them the kudos they deserve. And now we'll hear a little bit more commentary from me.
So it's not as smooth a ride as I thought, but smoother than it could have been. I'm actually almost to the I-10, or State Road 10, not sure which one it is. And that's the next turnoff I gotta take to go towards Santa Monica. And gonna keep my eyes on the road instead of the camera. Very excited about this. Haven't talked to Ben today still. I think they just finished filming or streaming the Reverse the Verse that they couldn't do yesterday, so I don't have any of the information from that except for what little Dr. Jeffrey was able to give me in a phone call just a few minutes ago. So I'm headed that way. Excited. Next picture should be of either me getting some gifts for the girls from that take care of all our tickets, Chelsea and Alexis, or it might be from Santa Monica itself. I'll decide when it's time. I'll talk to you all in a little bit. Oh God, I should be paying attention. Bye.
So one of the things that they were working on was the Shield design document, and each one of them had their own part in it, but it looked like James and Ben were the most heavily involved with it. James was trying to get the different devs together to get their work handed in. Most of the work had already been handed in, and they still needed some information. But that's not it. Once that's done, Ben and James have to go through all the copy and make it readable to the rest of us. And of course, when that's done, it has to go to Chris for the final sign-off. So some of the hurdles in this were trying to get all those things to come together. While at the same time, they had to produce the monthly report. They had to shoot a 10 for the chairman, but Chris was going to be back too late, so they had to call an audible, we'll call it that, and start shooting a 10 for the producers, which meant grabbing questions off of the boards, getting the producers in the building together, and then shooting it. And it was all done on the fly, and it was done amazingly well. You would expect there to be stress, but there wasn't. Each member of the team just kept on working as one. I didn't see the stress. I saw the urgency. They had a very good sense of urgency, and I saw the teamwork that they exhibited. I'm telling you, the way that Will, James, and Ben work together is unparalleled. I've worked in a lot of places with people that fulfill similar roles, and a lot of times there seems to be this grating that goes on because people are stressed, and when you're stressed, you push back a little bit. But that didn't happen here. It didn't happen at all, and I was very impressed. Alright, let's move on and let's talk about the two unsung heroes, Chelsea and Alexis. So most people think of a job as being 9 to 5 when you're working in this kind of environment. But it's not. It's something that I noticed. I showed up at almost 11 o'clock, I believe it was, maybe a little bit after 11. And outside of a bathroom break here or there, or to have a little bit of fun shooting their Nerf guns back and forth, Chelsea and Alexis just did one thing. All they did was plug away at the tickets, answering our questions, saving us, and making things right for us. It was quite an impressive thing that they did. I was very happy to see them in action. And this is what I saw all day, just the four of them working hard. Will managing the boards and also doing about 30 other things at once, and Chelsea and Alexis plugging away. And like I said, the unsung heroes. It's kind of shocking that neither one of them left for lunch. They ate at their desk, continuing to answer the hundreds of tickets that they were able to answer during the day. There's just two of them here. And yes, there's one or two that are in Manchester, but this is it's a huge job for these two to undertake. Because a lot of times when we're sending them a ticket, our lives are over. We've melted a ship. We put our money in and didn't get what we were looking for. Maybe we put a wrong shipping address for the mouse pad we ordered. Or maybe we ordered the wrong Voyager Direct item and we need to change it out. So many different things that were there. And even though they were answering ticket after ticket, and some of them were people frantic saying, "Oh my God, I'm never going to subscribe again because this happened." They just took it in stride, never really condemning anyone or saying anything mean, never frowning. Occasionally having to take out the Nerf gun and shoot each other to relieve some stress. But they just got their work done. And they did it all day long. And I do mean all day. Chelsea left first, but it isn't to say that she bailed. She was there long after 6 o'clock. I left at 7:30, and Alexis was still there, as was Will, and as was, well, you don't see James there. I'm sorry, James. I couldn't fit you all in the picture. But as was James. They all just did their work, and that was extremely good to see. Because, we all want this game out. And although these people aren't developing the game, they are doing something that's much more important. They're taking care of us. They're making sure that our involvement in the game, that our packages, our hangars, our ships, our forums, and all the information that are coming to us are brought to us as quickly and, concisely and correct as possible. I'm going to reiterate that what was most impressive to me is that by end of day, we had the monthly report, which a lot went into. We had the ship, shield, and gun sale. Well, ship skin and shield and gun sale. And then, of course, we had the design document for shields management. A lot of work went into all of this, and it went almost right down to the wire, with James having to install the CS Suite and learn on the fly, or not learn on the fly, but sit there and use the Premiere to put together the Shield video on the front page. Well, that was one of the best visits I could have had, because seeing all the cool things that go into the game, that's something that we're all going to see eventually. They're all going to be able to be in the game. But to actually get a look behind the scenes, to see how they work, to see what goes into building this incredible game. Yes, I did go upstairs to where the devs were, and I walked by quite a few of them and saw things that they were working on, and learned a couple of things that we all know, like the Constellation, which you see here, being reworked, like the Tally undergoing its final design phase, like the Avenger not being there, but being in Manchester and being, coming out soon to be the test bed for the modular system. So I did hear and talk to a few people. This ship that's underneath the Connie over here, I got to see them moving things around and trying to make it so they could fit the weapons that are actually in the game right now. So I did see some things. I didn't see anything I could show you, but I did get a chance to get wowed by a couple of images. But seeing how hard everybody worked, seeing how intense but not stressed everybody was, seeing the lighthearted way, but really that attention to detail, that sense of urgency that everybody showed, and of course the passion that you hear from Chris every time you talk to him, was emanating from everyone that you talk to. There's just so much passion for this game, for the work that they do. So the highlight of my visit was actually a couple of conversations that I had. I actually got the most FaceTime, was able to get the most FaceTime with Sandy Gardner. She came in around 2 o'clock, and I had never really talked to her face to face. We had talked over the phone, we'd talk over Skype. I interviewed her twice for the show, and we did get to know each other a little bit over those number of conversations and emails. And we just wanted to sit down and talk for a little bit, and we went over into the conference room and had a candid conversation. I've gained a lot of respect for her just by having that conversation. I think that Sandy wears more hats than anybody else in that building except for maybe Chris. That's because this is Chris's baby. He does delegate things out, but most of the delegation winds up in Sandy's hands. Everything from the crowdfunding campaign to getting the venues for all of the different events that they're going to go to, for arranging deals behind the scenes that we'll never know about or I can't talk about, to creating the merchandise agreements and picking the merchandise that we're going to actually buy and physically have sent to our house so we can show our love for this game. She does a lot. I mean, look, when she was in Manchester, she was finding sound studios, and she's done that here, connecting with actors and actresses for voiceover. And, not saying that that's all only her job, but it's all something that she has in her daily life. And of course, making sure that all the things that come out of the community team are correctly showing off the way that Star Citizen needs to be shown off to the public. And in that brief, almost 1 hour conversation, some people would say that was long, but it went by very quickly. I actually gained a lot of respect for her. And I think that most of the people that look at her as just being a woman in gaming, that maybe should she be there or should she not? I wish I had my camera and my microphone with me. Nobody would ever question her ability, her dedication, or passion for what we are going to receive at some point, this wonderful game. And of course, after Sandy, I got 10 minutes with Chris. And I've met Chris before, last year, talked to him for a good 30 minutes or so. I interviewed him for 8 minutes on my show once. And I've followed him since the 90s, and the conversation I had with him just nearly floored me. He is just an amazing man. Now, right after I talked to Chris and sat down and looked at the time and said, oh my God, it's 4:30. There's no way I'm getting on the roads right now. I just sat there. I asked Ben and Sandy if I could just sit there and, wait traffic out, and they said yes. And then at some point, Darian Vorlik came downstairs. And Darian is a producer on this game, but he used to work for Blizzard. And I asked him the first question that came to my mind. And that was that he had all of this security. And he had worked for Blizzard for a while. So all the security in his job working for Blizzard. But he came over to this game. And even though we've given them $70 million, there's no guarantee this game is going to come out, right? I mean, I know it's coming out, and so do most of you, but there's no guarantee when you're putting your livelihood and your job into that basket, right? And his comments, which I hope to get him on the show, I really do want to have Darian on the show because he was eloquent and answered a question that I really needed an answer to. And he just said, this is something big, and you're getting it early. You get to pioneer things at the company. And that's my take on what he was saying. But the fact that I will have him on this show is something that I think will be pretty awesome, because I just, like I said, I was very impressed with his answer. All right, so I'm going to end this on just one little thing, and it's a little brief message that I had with Chelsea and Alexis. Sorry to talk your ears off. I know I wrote this down in a blog, but there's a lot of people that don't actually read my blog. In fact, I probably only get 18 to 100 the most views on the blog that I have at the addictedgamer.com. And what better thing to put in State of the Game than my impression of how that community team and others worked at CIG? Something that not everybody is going to get. The typical visit when you go to CIG is not the 7.5 hours I spent there. I was lucky. I was fortunate. I know people there, and I've made friends and have dedicated a great deal of my time to this game, to promoting it and getting its word, getting its message out. So they were more than happy to have me around. But the average person that goes there is going to be whisked through in 30 to 45 minutes and see a couple of things, but it's not going to be like the curtains are going to be revealed to you and you're going to get this big wow. So if you do go to CIG, what I want you to do is take a look at it from the perspective I did. Look at the way that they work together. Look at the dedication, the passion. Look at the drive that they have, every single one of them. And that's going to be the most awesome thing that you walk out of there with. And as far as what to bring the community team, well, it's always good to send them candy to keep that basket that I showed you that was filled with chocolates and different candies. But they need that stress relief every now and then. Sending them a bottle of wine if you want, or of course a Nerf gun, or I guess extra ammunition for those Nerf guns would be a great deal to do also. And with that said, I'm going to just go into something totally different this time. Hey guys, I'm here with Alexis over at CIG headquarters, and we just want to say hello.
Hey guys.
Hey guys.
Ah, shit.
And now with that said, I can say this. You all be safe out there, and I'll talk to you soon.